Hi and welcome back to another vlog. I'm using my new vlogging camera that we're taking to Africa, so hopefully it works okay. It's a little bit weird, it's getting used to it. It has a wider lens so you can see better and stuff, but it's just so small, so it's just weird for me. But anyway, it is laundry day, so my bed is not made. So that's part of what we're gonna do today, laundry. I'm gonna show you some of our homeschool. It's a little lighter in the summertime. We've most like public schools have started already, and we've started some schoolwork, but not, my kids aren't doing their independent subjects every single day yet. It's still just like twice a week, but we've been trying to catch up on science and our history curriculum, because since we did our floors, if you missed that life update video, we did our floors, that kind of pushed us back. So those are some of the things we're gonna do today, and then we'll see what else we get to. I think I have like little bits of things here and there, and maybe just some updates on homeschool curriculum and what we've been doing, how we've been liking it. So kind of like a quarterly review as well, but not, you know, because our quarters are kind of wonky right now because of us going to Africa. So that's what we're gonna do. I am going to, the sheets for the bed are already clean, so I'm gonna put them back on, and it's about 9 o'clock in the morning. I've already had like scripture time. I walked for 40 minutes outside, and then I lifted for about 30 minutes. And so my kids have been doing a little bit of school. They've done their chores. They've done some piano. So I'm gonna eat breakfast after I get the bed made. And if laundry needs to be switched, I'll do that. And then we'll do some of our group work. And if any of them need help with some of their independent stuff, I'll help them with that as well. All right, this is what downstairs looks like. So we have a bunch of erasers that little kids have taken out. Locke's been loving to build stuff.
Where's Becca?
Huh, I don't know. Becca, the 2-year-old, she's not lost, but she's lost.
I heard her. I think she's in the home.
Alana's working on some of this punch needle. I don't even know exactly what it's called. Is that what it's even called?
Yeah, punch needle.
Punch needle projects. So she's working on that. We have some language arts going here. He's almost done with this book, which is nice.
I'm controlling Lydia with the mouse.
Oh, you're controlling her with the mouse. That's interesting. And then we have a child that's doing some language arts, and he said he's been tracing this for half an hour.
Yeah.
But it looks really good if you can see all the little details. So nice work on that. And then we have some math going on over here as well. And for those who are worried, Becca's right here. She is not lost. She's looking at a library book. So those will probably have to be put away because she will rip the pages out. So she is here. Okay, so here's our schoolwork we're gonna be doing. I have our history here, and then we just finished a science unit, so we're gonna start ecosystems. And I'm gonna actually take them out to the kitchen table. Back here is kind of a mess. I'll talk about that later, but we're getting built-ins, and so everything is kind of just a mess, and we don't have our normal storage. So like the table has become storage for a lot of things, so we just don't have as much space. So I'm gonna take these out to the kitchen table, and we're gonna do scriptures and these two things. Also, it's a super moody weather day. We live in a desert, and so it usually is just hot and sunny, and we don't get rain very often, and so it's kind of this stormy, moody day, and we're getting little bits of rain, and it hasn't rained very much, but I'm hoping it'll downpour. I love a good downpour, so we'll see if it happens. Okay, so the first one is to use a pink marker to highlight or trace the Nile River. Okay, so where is the Nile River?
Somewhere.
It's very long. So you're gonna trace the whole thing. So this is the longest river in the world, but less than 1/4 of the river runs through Egypt. The Nile River runs through 10 other countries. Ancient Egyptians could not have lived without this river. Okay, so the next thing you're gonna do is draw a blue star on the Mediterranean Sea. Man, Menta, you are a fast colorer. You got it all colored really fast. Alana, how about you pick one, and you can read the back to tell us about the pharaoh. You want to say hi? Say hi.
Hatshepsut.
Yeah, Hatshepsut. I don't know.
Hatshepsut.
That says soot, so
Hatshepsut.
you want to say hi?
Was a female
There you go.
pharaoh.
So notice the highest classes in Egyptian society had the smallest number of people, and the lower classes had the largest number of people. When a society is organized this way, it's called a social pyramid, right? So these parts were really small. Mantai's using his history book to write his name on his science book in hieroglyphics. So it should turn out pretty cool. Oh, you have a bird. Are you gonna be able to write your whole name? Do they have letters for all of it?
Yeah.
Okay. They're taking a brief walk outside to observe a living thing. Are you a gazelle?
I'm killing all the rats. I'm a murderer. I'm an assassin. I'm an assassin.
You're a goofball. You're gonna go out too?
Manti, are you the ecosystem Pokemon?
So, does this seem like a lot of honey to you?
No.
No, it's a very small amount, right? One honeybee will work its entire lifetime and produce only 1/12 of a teaspoon of honey. That seem like much honey to you or me, but every honeybee is vital to the success of its hive. Bees depend on one another for their survival, and we need bees to survive too. So Mazer's gonna start his chemistry. It's quantum camp. I've mentioned it a few times before and kind of explained it a little bit, but he's trying to get them all done before we go to Africa because we won't be able to take it with us. And so he goes through, he reads about the lesson or watches something about it, and then he does an experiment that goes along with it. So I'll try to show you some of that as well. Kids in here doing stuff, but this is probably the best time because it's overcast outside, so it's not so bright and easier to see stuff. And so when we took out our floors in here, we left a lot of the stuff out of here that used to be in here. This bookcase is still in here because it's so heavy, and we're going to have built-ins put in. So the idea, they're supposed to be here in maybe 5 weeks. So this filing cabinet will be gone. It used to be where I'm standing right now, but our whiteboard's here. So there'll be some built-in bookshelf thing that goes all the way to the ceiling, and then a desk to the wall. And then we have bookcase, and then there'll be a bench with some storage underneath the window, and then a bookcase here. We're not gonna do anything on this wall because the piano used to be in the front office, and we're gonna keep it back here and stuff. So all my kids' piano books are over there until we have bookcases to put them on and stuff. But that's kind of what is happening in here right now. So baseboards won't be put back on this back wall at all because there'll be shelves all on the back. And then I'll have to wait and see where the bookcases come out, and then I'll put the baseboards back on these side walls here. So that's kind of where we're at. So this room is still in a little bit of disarray until for like 5-ish, 6 more weeks. And then we'll try to hurry put it together before we leave for Africa. Okay, I was just gonna get on here and tell you a few things that we have finished or we're working on for school, and just go over those things since, again, our quarters are messed up. Normally I do quarterly reviews, which I'll still do something similar, but I don't know exactly how I'm gonna break it up. So I figured I'd just add it to this video. So we just finished space science from the Good and the Beautiful yesterday. And so we had to catch up. We were a little bit behind on some of the lessons, so we had to catch up with those, and we just finished it yesterday. We have done space science before from them. We love it. There's a lot of fun activities. You're not gonna eat your apples. I have kids eating lunch, so they might come in and out. Okay, go sit down. Go sit down and eat it. And there's an Oreo activity for the phases of the moon, and that's my kids' favorite. Every single time they just love to do that. They love to be able to eat the Oreos and design them into the different phases of the moon. It's super fun. So there's lots of different activities. Again, the books are really great. We don't do the best at doing the extra activities. So in the, whatever, the 7th and 8th grade books, there's extension activities. And so sometimes my older kids will look through them. Sometimes if something looks like it's more interesting or all of us might like reading through it, then I might kind of read through it a little bit all together sort of thing, but they are in there if you want to do them. And then they have lots of activities again where they're gluing, they're pasting. This one, you can't even tell. So we did the shaving cream with glue and you mix it and it makes like a puff paint. And so this is one of the moons of Neptune, I believe. And it has some different colors. So there's greens and pinks, and then white is the base. But they were all puffy and now it's really flat because I had to close their books. And it was dry mostly, but it's still like compressed enough that it's flat. So we finished that, loved it again. And then we just started today ecosystems, which you saw us doing. This is a shorter one. It only has, I think, 9 lessons. And so that's good because we only have so much time. So I'm excited to go through that. And then the other thing that we have started doing is history from The Good and the Beautiful. They just came out with their new history curriculum this year. And so far, I've really been enjoying it. We are, I can't remember what lesson we were even on. So lesson 8, we just did lesson 7 today, or we did lesson 8 today. I think we did lesson 8 today. So we were a few weeks behind. So the last 2 weeks we have been doing history 4 days a week. Normally we just do it twice, but I think for a few more weeks we're still doing it 4 days a week, and then we'll alternate it with science. And then once we're in Africa, we'll alternate it with the Constitution, the US government and Constitution or something like that from The Good and the Beautiful. So this has been really great. One of my favorite things, so I probably will talk about this on Instagram as well, maybe a short version of it. But I had someone mention to me, like ask about science curriculum we're using, and I mentioned, because he's like, oh, are you using KiwiCo or something? Because we're part of the same charter. And so he was wondering just what science we were using. And I was like, oh no, we use the Good and the Beautiful science units. He's like, oh, that stuff can get expensive because the charter doesn't cover it, right? Because it's a Christian curriculum. And so they don't cover it. And he's like, that can get expensive. And I was like, yeah. And we kind of like left it at that. It was a doctor's appointment and stuff. So it was just like this quick conversation. And so then I came home, and the next day, or maybe that day, we started this history from The Good and the Beautiful. And it starts out with the creation of the world. It has a lot of scriptures in the Bible. And, you know, it gives more options for if you want to talk more about Abraham and Isaac, you can read more about their story in Genesis and different things, and gives all these different options to look up more. And as I went through that stuff, I'm like, this is why I love this curriculum. There's a lot of other Christian curriculums out there as well. But I just love that I can bring more of Christ into our homeschool, and that's why I homeschool. And so for me, it's worth the cost of not having our charter pay for it. And for me, you know, I'd have to look for a secular curriculum. That's what it's called, right? Secular curriculum that would work for us. And then I would have to find more ways to incorporate Christ, where is in this curriculum, it's just naturally already done for me and makes it so much easier on me as a mom, and just integrates it seamlessly into history, into science, into math, into language arts. There's just so many ways that that The Good and the Beautiful does it, and I just love it. So far this has been great. And we're going through ancient Egypt right now. There is a history stories book, and there's also, if you have the Good and the Beautiful app, which is free, you can listen to the stories. And it reminds me of elementary school. I don't know if you guys did this, you know, where you were like in charge of flipping the pages. And so the recording would ding, you know, just a little ding, and you'd flip the page. It does the same thing. And I just love it. It just brings me back to being in school. And so if you don't want to read the stories yourself, or your voice is a little bit shot from all the other homeschool stuff, I like that they have the recordings as an option. So we've had a few of those. And then these timeline books are fun as well. I think they're meant to be used for all 4 years. Yeah, because the stickers in the back, so only these ones on this side are for year 1. And then this is year 2, and then it flips over to more stickers here. So it goes through, and these flip out. That sounds fine, they flip out. So it becomes like this huge map, and then you put stickers on it. It also has other spots throughout history that are just like, oh, if you want to note this also happening, but maybe there's not a sticker, you can pull these out when you're talking about history. So I think that's been helpful to kind of see the timeline and see other things that are happening. And then I left out one of my kids' books. I don't think I have. So they have the bigger ones. These are for 7th and 8th graders. And then they have a smaller book that's 3 through 6. So I have 2 of those. And then my 2 older kids are in these ones. And I have been having them do the extension activities in here. So after like the normal activity, which is usually pretty similar to my younger kids, then it will have an extension activity. And this one was on lesson 2, but it was some stuff about genealogy. Not the same thing. Genealogy. And so this one goes through and talks about the lineage of Christ. Again, things that I love this curriculum for is just the integration of Christ into it. But then it lets you do your own like little family tree here, which I felt like was a great opportunity to talk about it. My kids didn't know all of their great-grandparents' names. You know, they probably still wouldn't remember a lot of them, but we were able to do that. So that was really good. But there's lots of different activities. Okay, there's talking about Noah, and like I said, we've been talking about ancient Egypt. I can't talk because I'm trying to talk too fast. And so they have the different writings that they get to learn about. So some of the extension activities have questions. Some might have them. There was one about marriage because it talked about Isaac and Rebecca. And my oldest daughter's middle name is Rebecca, after Rebecca in the Bible. And so it had one that said, ask your parents these questions about marriage traditions and what their wedding was like. So that was fun. I think they have really like great activities. And then again, we have the history book. This is for K through 2nd grade, K through 2, whatever you would say. And it follows the lessons, but they're just simplified. So I sometimes have this for my 3rd grader because some things are just easier for her to do in there, or it just gives her something to do because sometimes it's very reading intensive. And so while we're doing that, she can do that in her own activity book. And then it has this book that has pictures, which is helpful. And these are their identification cards. Isn't that crazy? Like you'd have a driver's license or passport, they carry around this like piece of stone or clay or whatever and show people. I prefer the driver's license, it's much smaller. And then even today we were talking about this, like the social hierarchy basically of, you know, the pharaoh on top and then the slaves and stuff at the bottom. But it has some punch out things in the back too. So some of the different lessons, you punch these cards out, and then some of them have things on the back. So these ones have dates, but some of them have other descriptions. And so it just gives a visual for you to talk about with your kids. So far I've really liked it a lot. Like I said, we're about 8 lessons in, and it's been going really well. And that's basically what we've been doing for school the last few weeks. We'll start more little things, but this will still be a huge chunk of what we're doing before we leave for Africa. So for the next 6 weeks, because then we're gonna basically have the 2 weeks before to pack and get everything ready. The next 6 weeks, this is basically what we're gonna be doing. I am debating about putting in read alouds. We might not really sure at the moment. But I just wanted to share that with you. That's kind of what we've been up to. That's my thoughts about it and how everything's going with school. All right, friends, I think that's where we're gonna end today. Thank you for spending the homeschool morning with us. If you like this kind of content, just kind of seeing what we do for homeschool or how we kind of function in the mornings, let me know and I can film more of them. Remember to give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you next time.